If you're watching this, your soul has led you here for insight on working with your shadow. Shadow work is the process of exploring and integrating the unconscious aspects of ourselves, the repressed emotions, hidden fears, and denied traits that shape our behaviors and beliefs. Rooted in Jungian psychology, this practice is a powerful tool for self-discovery, emotional healing, and spiritual evolution. By confronting and embracing our shadow selves, we unlock deeper self-awareness, healthier relationships, and a more authentic life. Keep watching, because later I'll share tips you can use to work with your shadow instead of against it in your spiritual and personal evolution. The term shadow self was introduced by psychologist Carl Jung, who believed that every person has unconscious aspects of their personality that they suppress or deny. These shadows form when we push away parts of ourselves that we believe are unacceptable, shameful, or unworthy of love. Your shadow might include unhealed wounds from childhood or feelings of anger, jealousy, or resentment. Your shadow may include guilt and shame that you have not processed, and fears and insecurities that control your actions without your conscious knowledge. Your shadow may also reflect parts of yourself that you have rejected to fit in or be accepted. Have you ever wondered why you are triggered by certain people or situations? And have you ever wondered why it can be so difficult to break unhealthy cycles of behavior? Your shadow may hold the answer. Carl Jung defined the shadow as the parts of ourselves we reject, suppress, or deny, often due to societal conditioning, trauma, or shame. These disowned aspects can manifest as unexplained triggers or emotional reactions and self-sabotaging behaviors. They can also manifest as projection. In projection, we see traits that we dislike in ourselves reflected in others. Your shadow's disowned aspects can also stir up feelings of persistent guilt, anger, or insecurity. Shadow work brings these hidden parts into conscious awareness, allowing us to heal and reclaim our wholeness. Shadow work is the process of acknowledging, understanding, and integrating these hidden aspects of yourself. It is not about eliminating the shadow, but about bringing awareness to it so that it no longer controls you. If you're still watching, your soul is ready to hear about the role shadow work plays in your personal journey. Here are 5 ways in which shadow work enhances your personal growth. The first way shadow work supports your personal growth is by fostering increased self-awareness. If we want to grow and achieve our full potential, it's vital to bring all that is hidden into the light. We must look at ourselves courageously and take stock to chart a course for a better future. Many of our struggles stem from unconscious patterns. Shadow work helps us recognize why certain people or situations have a way of always getting under our skin. It can also assist us in identifying recurring life challenges. If you've struggled with failed relationships again and again, or have had difficulty achieving certain career goals, understanding your shadow could hold the key to better outcomes. This type of work can help us understand the root of self-sabotage. By shining light on these hidden influences, we gain control over our reactions and choices. Once your conscious mind acknowledges the effect and the hold that certain patterns have had on you, you are able to loosen their grip. Instead of just reacting, you are able to observe your behavior and make choices that support your evolution. The second way in which shadow work assists you in your personal evolution is by facilitating emotional healing and release. Repressed emotions such as anger, grief, and shame don't disappear. Instead, they fester and resurface in harmful ways. Shadow work allows us to process past traumas with compassion. It helps us to release stored emotional pain through activities such as journaling, therapy, or meditation. It can help us break cycles of toxic behavior, such as people-pleasing or aggression. This emotional liberation leads to greater peace and resilience. Unhealed wounds manifest as pain, anxiety, or unhealthy coping mechanisms. Shadow work allows you to confront these wounds with compassion, giving them the attention they need to heal. The third way in which facing your shadow helps your personal growth is by paving the way for improved relationships. If our shadows are never faced, it's likely that we will project them onto others. When we engage in this type of projection, we blame other people for what we refuse to see in ourselves. Shadow work helps us reduce conflicts by owning our projections. It lays the groundwork for us to develop empathy for the flaws in others. And by helping us heal inner wounds, such as a fear of intimacy, shadow work can help us attract healthier relationships. As we integrate our shadows, we relate to others more authentically. The fourth way in which addressing your shadow supports personal growth lies in its ability to help you realize authentic self-expression. Many of us suppress our true desires to fit in or avoid judgment. Shadow work encourages us to embrace traits that may be viewed as unacceptable due to societal norms. These may include things such as ambition, sensuality, or anger. By embracing these traits instead of fighting against them, we allow them to become less dominant in our lives, and we can integrate them as part of a healthier whole. Facing our shadow can help us live in alignment with our own personal values, instead of being governed and led by societal expectations that may be far removed from our own goals and preferences. It can also help us achieve greater creativity, as repressed energy is transformed into expression. Many of us have given away our power by suppressing our true selves to fit societal expectations. Shadow work helps you reclaim the parts of yourself that you have buried. It allows you to stand fully in your truth without fear of judgment. The fifth way in which shadow work can support personal growth is by strengthening self-love and acceptance. The more you integrate your shadow, the more whole you become. Instead of seeing parts of yourself as bad or undesirable, you begin to accept and love yourself fully. You no longer seek external validation because you recognize your own worth. Shadow work also has a profound effect on your spiritual evolution. If you're still watching, you're ready to hear about these 5 ways in which working with your shadow can deepen your spiritual growth. The first way shadow work enhances spiritual growth is by supporting individuation. Individuation is the process of becoming one's authentic, complete self. Jung believed spiritual wholeness comes from integrating all aspects of the self, light and dark. Shadow work balances the ego by acknowledging its limitations. It connects us with the deeper self. This is the true, divine essence that goes beyond ego. The second way in which facing your shadow aids your spiritual journey is by helping you transcend ego illusions. The ego resists shadow work because it threatens its self-image. By facing the shadow, we see through false identities. We come to recognize that darkness is not bad. Rather, it's a natural part of being human. Facing our shadow can also help us move closer to non-dual awareness. This is the spiritual understanding that all opposites are interconnected. The third way in which shadow work supports spiritual growth is by awakening compassion. As we accept our own flaws, we become more compassionate toward others. Shadow work dissolves judgment and superiority. It reveals the universality of human struggles. In so doing, it deepens our connection to oneness. The fourth spiritual benefit of confronting our shadow is that it helps us align with our higher self. The unhealed shadow keeps us stuck in fear and limitation. By integrating it, we remove energetic blocks to intuition and guidance. We open ourselves up to experience deeper meditation and spiritual insights, and we create an environment in which we can live from a place of inner wisdom rather than conditioning. The fifth way in which shadow work benefits us spiritually is that it can help strengthen our intuition. Your intuition is strongest when you are in alignment with your true self. If you have unresolved fears, doubts, or suppressed emotions, they cloud your inner guidance. Shadow work clears these blockages, allowing you to receive messages from your higher self with clarity. Shadow work has undeniable benefits and can transform your life, but it's also important to acknowledge and recognize just how challenging it can be. It's not for the faint of heart. It requires looking at the parts of yourself that may be painful or uncomfortable. It calls on you to face uncomfortable truths. You may uncover parts of yourself that you do not like: anger, jealousy, fear, insecurity. The key is to approach these parts with compassion, not judgment. It also requires you to open yourself up to experiencing emotional intensity. Shadow work can bring deep emotions to the surface. It is important to have healthy ways to process them, such as journaling, meditation, or seeking support from a therapist or mentor. Finally, shadow work calls on you to let go of old identities. As you integrate your shadow, you may realize that certain beliefs or identities no longer serve you. This can feel disorienting, but it is a sign of growth. Now, your soul is ready to hear about the guidance I mentioned earlier. These tips can help you work with and integrate your shadow instead of fighting against it. Tip number 1 is to make a daily effort to cultivate self-compassion. Shadow work is not about judging yourself, it is about understanding yourself. Approach this journey with love and patience. Tip number 2 is to use journaling to log the feelings and insights that arise as you engage in shadow work. Write down your thoughts, triggers, and emotional reactions. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding? What triggers me and why? What emotions do I suppress? Tip number 3 is to pay attention to your triggers. Your emotional reactions are messages from your shadow. When something triggers you, instead of reacting impulsively, ask yourself, what is this reaction teaching me about myself? Tip number 4 is to work with your inner child. Many shadows stem from childhood wounds. Reflect on your past and identify moments where you felt rejected, abandoned, or unworthy. Offer love and reassurance to your inner child. The 5th and final tip is to meditate and reflect. Spend time in silence, allowing emotions and memories to surface. Sit with them without judgment. Let them teach you. Shadow work is not easy. It requires courage to face what we've buried. Yet, by embracing our darkness, we reclaim lost power, heal deep wounds, and awaken to our fullest potential. On a personal level, it leads to emotional freedom and better relationships. Spiritually, it dissolves illusions, fosters compassion, and aligns us with our higher self. Not everyone will embark on this journey. Many will continue to suppress, avoid, and deny the parts of themselves that make them uncomfortable. But if you are here, watching this, you are ready. You are ready to embrace every part of yourself, the light and the shadow. You are ready to step into your full power, to heal, to grow, and to transform. The path to true growth isn't about seeking light alone, it's about bringing light to the shadows. As Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The shadows you fear are not your enemies. They are your teachers. They hold the keys to your deepest wisdom and your greatest strength. Your shadow can lead you on a journey toward greater integration, and if you're still watching, you're ready to take that first step. I'd like to thank you for being here. If this content has resonated with you, please consider hitting the like button or sharing it with those who might benefit. Subscribe for more guidance designed to help you flourish and thrive on your soul's path.